So you get diagnosed, and that had to have been, a really difficult moment.
It was devastating, but I didn't even know what MS was. And then, I had little issues and stuff like that, but I was like, I can totally do this. And then about 5 years ago, I started using a cane and then a walker. And only recently am I using a wheelchair.
Talk about a messy part, right? That you have no control over.
I have no control over it. Like I stayed home yesterday because I had a bad day. I'm MS's bitch. So if it says, oh, you're going to have a bad day, I just have a bad day, but I still work from home. I don't stop doing stuff.
Today on The Messy Parts, we have on Julie Gaines, the founder of Fishs Eddy. It is an iconic store born in the 80s, New York, and it is all that. She has had many messy parts, but what's interesting is she started out wanting to be an artist. She didn't plan to be an entrepreneur, but life actually showed her a different path. And it's had, as she says, many very big messes, ups and downs, including infidelity and chronic disease. One of the things that she said that really stuck with me is that she became at one moment the person that she doesn't want her daughter to be. You're going to want to listen. Well, Julie, thank you so much for coming and joining me on the Blue Couch. You have a store that is really like an iconic store that people love in the city. It's not just that they shop there. They actually love your store, Fishs Eddy's. My husband constantly corrects me on how I say it. But you didn't start out saying, I want to go into retail. I want to have a store.
Oh, God, no.
You grew up in Staten Island, went to art school. You thought you were going to be a painter. I read in your amazingly illustrated book that you made very big paintings. That's what
Well,
you
yeah,
said.
I must have been compensating for something.
Okay, so you graduate and you end up in New York City. How were you paying your bills?
Well, I lived with my cousin on 15th Street.
Okay, so you had
around the
someplace to
corner.
land, right?
Yes, and we were the superintendent of the building. We got a little bit off the rent, and, it was a long time ago. It was like 40 years ago, so it was affordable.
In looking at your story, because I also looked at the illustrated book that you did with your son, it was very much the 80s New York, sort of a period that I also lived here then, which I find really was a magical time here where we could all afford to live here.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is very different from today. So you're living with your cousin, and tell the story of how you meet Dave.
Literally down the street was this little store that sold, funky glassware and things like that. And he was a fixture in the West Village. And I walked down the street to get a few things for our apartment, and I met Dave. And the next thing you know, we just went to the movies that night and then hung out the next night.
I think you saw,
And
like, what is
saw
the movie
The
you saw?
Gods Must Be Crazy.
Which was an amazing movie.
It had just come out. Yeah, we started hanging out a lot, and I was trying to sell art in the streets.
How was that?
I'm not a very good artist, actually.
Really?
Well, I know enough about art to know that I'm not a very good artist.
Don't you think everybody has that, like, self-critic in them?
No, I'm really not.
Okay,
I love art, and I if I was a good artist, I wouldn't say I'm not. I think my son's an amazing artist. I'm not a good artist, but I know good art, and I think that's an art.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were selling the art, but you weren't sure that was your pathway.
Yeah, I really wasn't sure. I just had no path. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think if I was like my parents' son, they would have forced me to go to law school or something, which really drives me crazy, knowing that.
Knowing that they would have pushed you if you were a boy?
I think so, yeah.
So what, they just didn't push you at all?
That was
the
thing in my family. All the guys went to law school.
So what, they thought all the girls should get married?
Maybe. I know. My dad's stuck in the 50s.
Well, there was a lot of those dads.
Yeah. I really hate that, though. Yeah, so I walked down the street. I met Dave, and we started dating, and we left the store, and we opened our own store with their permission. I didn't have a business degree. He didn't finish high school, but we really, really loved what we were doing together, like going around and scouting around and finding things. And very quickly, we found ourselves in the Bowery of New York City.
At a time where the Bowery was filled with restaurant supply stores.
Only restaurant supplies. And we went down to one of the basements, and we were like, oh my God, it was filled with hundreds and thousands of unused pieces of restaurant ware from old railroads and academic societies and roadside diners and everything. It was all mixed and all filthy. And these were not even the basements; these were the sub basements.
Oh, it must have been dark and
It
dingy
was
and dirty.
so dark. I didn't have a phone, which is my biggest regret. The only thing I can do is rely on like what I remember. And there was always like some kind of window at the top and a light and streaming in. And you could see, the dust coming in and the bushels filled with cups and creamers and endless stacks. Like, I can't believe I didn't get to take one photo. But then we went to the next restaurant supply.
But
and they were
how
filled.
did you even get to the basement? Like, how did you get somebody to say, go into the basement? No, you know what? Go into my sub basement.
I don't know. We were just natural born snoopers. We were going everywhere.
One of the things as I read the story of you and Dave, and you were together for a long time, was that it's like you found someone and then you found belonging. Like you were like two people in a pod, liking to do the exact same thing. These are not glamorous moments, all of them.
No, and they were so much fun, and we were a little reckless. We just bought anything. If someone said they had 10,000 or something before they could finish what something was, we said yes.
But how did you pay for that?
Because it was feast or famine. It was, talk about messy. We were feast or famine. If New York Magazine wrote about us, then we'd have tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd spend all that money on a find. And then we'd be broke and we'd have to do something else to make tons of money.
So one of the things I want to ask you about is because you were an accidental entrepreneur. In many ways, I think your store was an art project and not a business. Because it's not, today people start businesses and they're like, I have a business plan. Here's my scaling plan. That's not how you came to this.
No plan. No.
What do you think it was in both of you that saw something in what people basically were going to discard in garbage?
The quality. Especially these dishes and the quality of these dishes and the shape. What wouldn't you love about a little creamer from the Fifth Avenue Hotel that is defunct, and the little flowers on the handle and just the shape of it and the silhouette? We thought it was beautiful, but of course everybody would think it was beautiful. Turns out in those days in our first store, because we stayed open till like 3 or 4 in the morning, we didn't get going till 4 in the afternoon.
Why? Because you were scouting in the mornings?
No, but that was the West Village at that time. We would stay open really late, and apparently all these celebrities and really interesting people in the West Village were coming in, and we were the pit stop after they were going to clubs or whatever. They would like go to Fishs Eddy and look at stuff.
Find a saucer.
Yes. And we were so young. We had no idea. We didn't know who anybody was. We were just really young.
You basically have this discovery. And I was an early thrifter. I think there's something in the discovery of, unearthing something and then thinking about the history and the story, which clearly was a big part of it. I think in the 80s, it wasn't about perfection. So people didn't mind mismatch because you're basically selling mismatched dishes, right? People pull from different things, sort of making up their own combination. This is not about like the perfect setting at, some fancy, I don't know, Upper East Side dinner party.
Well, I like to think we were at the forefront of like mixing and matching and making sets out of, all different pieces. I feel like we got a lot of credit for that. Years later, somebody was saying Fishs Eddy started the trend of, not really. That's how we were finding it.
You were finding it, and then you would excavate it and you'd bring it and you would basically have lots of regulars. I read you had a bench outside that people just hung out at.
Yes, it was the spot in the corner of Hudson Street, and there would be a crowd all the time at night outside Fishs Eddy because of Fishs Eddy.
It was an iconic moment when there was like a co-op called Food, when, Soho was actually a place where artists lived and worked.
Right.
Which is very different from today, right?
Right.
When you look back at that time in New York, because I read your book and it made me very nostalgic, what does it make you think of in terms of where we are today?
We feel like more manufactured today, like a little more, I don't know, plasticky, or it just felt more organic back then. More grit. There was more grit, don't you think?
There was just grit.
Just a lot. Yeah, it was just grittier and a little harder and more exciting, more raw.
Weirdly, more opportunity.
Yeah, I wonder if like there's parts of Brooklyn that is like that now. I don't know. Yeah, it did feel like opportunity.
Fast forward, you open up this store. You're clearly an iconic landmark. This is before you actually then end up moving up to what is Union Square. And I loved reading that your parents, your both your moms thought you were crazy to move and that Union Square was not going to be a happening thing, which is funny now looking back.
Yeah.
Neither of you listened to your moms, but your moms did come work for you. Both of your moms.
Well, yes, we didn't really have a choice in that matter.
What does that mean?
Well, it's funny because my mother-in-law became like the icon of that store, the cranky old lady that ran the store. And we didn't even realize that at the time, but that's kind of perfect, that we'd have this cranky older woman. I remember one day.
Did they get along, your two moms?
They did. I mean, they did. They my mother's very like Southern Jewish, and my mother-in-law's brassy Irish woman. She was, yeah. But my mother-in-law was literally a sales repellent.
What does that mean?
She just she would tell people they could get something like that cheaper at Pottery Barn. I mean, she was literally a sales repellent.
Why did you keep her?
I don't know. I remember one time calling the store and she said, "Julie, hold on 1 second." And then I hear her talking to a customer and she's saying, "I didn't ask you to come in here."
But I mean, I also read that you didn't do any of the firing until later when I think maybe on your third CEO.
I didn't fire anyone until my husband left, and then I had to take that position.
So
wasn't by choice.
Okay. So, I now work with my husband, and I think working with your husband is its own interesting, messy journey. Amazing, but also messy. Did you because I was watching a social clip yesterday from actually a couple we had early on the podcast, and they were saying it helps to define your roles, to know what you're doing and what that person's doing. I don't know. Did you have this very neat equation?
We fell into a very neat equation. I found out that I was really much better than painting. I'm very good at merchandising. I love merchandising. My favorite thing in the world is to set up a store and create an environment that nobody's ever been in. And you can walk through the doors and feel like you're someone else or somewhere else. And it makes you happy and it makes you think and it makes you sometimes a little ticked off, but it just does something to you.
So merchandising, for somebody who may not be familiar with retail, is what?
Merchandising meaning just creating an environment, setting up a store, creating a world where product goes and the story that it tells and what it says to the customer and everything from signage to how it's displayed. And
well, you had great window displays. I remember in the Leona Helmsley trial, because Leona Helmsley was basically being tried because she didn't believe in paying taxes.
Right.
I think she said something about taxes are for little people.
Right.
You guys had found a treasure trove because they owned a hotel.
They called us, actually. A lot of hotels called us. I mean, today they would never have called us. They would have put it on, an auction or eBay or something. But they called us because the Helmsley Hotel had a basement filled with dishes and teapots and match strikers.
And they wanted you to buy that.
They would just take it off our hands, please. They sold it for so cheap. These beautiful match strikers where you put the box in and you strike it on the side with the match.
I know, those aren't a thing anymore.
No, these things are from the 40s. And they were sitting there brand new in boxes. And it was also exciting for us to be in the basement, of where, their storage area of the Helmsley Hotel.
Because the Helmsley Hotel was a legendary hotel.
Yes. So we got everything, these big, beautiful platters, and they were very decadent too.
It was very ornate, that hotel.
Yes. So we did a huge window, the Helmsley Hotel. Now the little people can eat. So that was our window.
And that landed you in the New York Times.
It did. A lot of windows got us, in the New York Times.
So you actually were a very gifted merchandiser.
Hopefully. I mean.
Which is an art form.
Yeah, it's my canvas. It is my canvas.
Yeah.
Better than a real canvas.
But you then started actually doing collaborations. And one of the things I loved reading was you decided you should do a collab with Cynthia Rowley. And you did something that is rare today, which is you thought, why not? And you reached out. So why don't you tell that story?
anyone I reached out to, I was like, what do I have to lose? Because we're just the little guy and they'll probably say no. And, at least I tried. But so many people were saying yes. Cynthia said yes. I couldn't believe it.
Todd
Yeah.
Oldham said yes.
Todd said yes. It was crazy. Yeah, people were just, I love that store, this little store. And I think maybe we did something for them that they could support a small business, or we were anti-corporate, that's for sure.
Mhm.
And I think maybe they were at a point where maybe they wanted to be anti-corporate. I don't know, but they always said yes to us.
So, I
never got a no.
Well, it's interesting. I talk to young people and often they're waiting for permission or they're waiting to be perfect. You didn't have that instinct. You were willing to just go, even if it may get you a no.
You can overthink things to the death of it. And we never, ever did that. Sometimes, like, what's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? That's what I would say to younger people.
Mhm.
I mean, look at what's the worst that can happen.
You can be embarrassed. And I'm like,
Boo-hoo,
so
you
what?
get a rejection, or you'll get over it.
So you have a famous story where you actually reached out to Caroline Kennedy, another one of your, why not?
Yes.
Why don't you tell that story?
Yeah.
I love these stories.
We started a charity, and it was when it was, feast, not famine, of course. And we were like, we have to give back, and it has to be something very New York. And both my kids went to New York City public schools. So we called the Fund for Public Schools, and Caroline Kennedy was the head of the Fund for Public Schools at the time. And I remember I told my sister I was doing it.
You were going to reach out to Caroline Kennedy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to call Caroline Kennedy. A little while later, my sister called back and she goes, hi, this is Caroline. And I was like, shut the fuck up. But it was Caroline.
Surprise!
Yeah. No, my sister had called earlier, but she called again, and that one was Caroline. So that's how I greeted Caroline Kennedy.
How'd that go?
She was like, no, this is Caroline. So I was like, wow. I mean, hi, thank you for calling me. And then I was had to get over that moment of my rude introduction. And she was great. She's really great. So I told her the idea was that we get a lot of small businesses like Paragon and ABC Carpet and all these other businesses.
You were all around Union Square.
Yes, yes, to chip in and donate money, have a shopping weekend. And part of the proceeds go to the Fund for Public School for libraries that need books. And she was all over it. It was great. And then I got NYC and Co. involved. And it was a thing for a few years. And we called it Shop for Class. It was pretty exciting. It was exciting to meet her.
I loved how you said to Caroline, you weren't getting a lot of people saying yes. And then she said to you, I'll meet them all. And how that actually became a pivot point.
Yeah, I really feel like a lot of people showed up because they wanted to meet her, and then.
Well, and she knew how to use that.
Yes. So we all met at the Tweed Courthouse. It was really, really, it was like kind of a highlight. And then they had a kickoff concert with Cyndi Lauper.
Okay, now that's, so 80s.
Yeah, and I know. And I got to go on stage with Cyndi Lauper and her. I always wish I could go back to these moments and feel it more. I don't know. I was just
hard to feel it when you're just racing through them, trying to make it
isn't
work.
It?
Yeah.
Like I want to go back and have, take two.
See, it's funny. I can appreciate that.
In a lot of situations.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to fast forward because your business grows and it's successful. And like you said, it's feast and famine. And retail businesses, particularly small businesses, it's not like scale. That's not really, I mean, you want to grow, you want to support your family, you want it to work, but it's hard to really scale. And so you guys decide, you and Dave, to bring in outside help to help you. You actually go through 3 CEOs. I sort of loved every single story.
Yeah.
One misfit after the next.
Yes.
What do you think the difference is between a founder and a professional manager? Because that's what you were looking for.
Well, we were looking for someone that could install budgets. But then it turns out we weren't always good at listening.
To them?
Yeah. Like we always felt like we knew better. It wasn't our ego talking. It was like, but that's not right. That's not very Fishs Eddy.
But don't you think that matters?
It does matter. It does matter. Our opinion mattered. But I think we weren't good listeners, and we also didn't hire the right people. We just didn't land on the right people at all. I mean, I feel vindicated because the last guy we hired, I mean, I won't mention his name, but he went on to, I fired him. He was the one person I fired with great pleasure. And he went to manage the Philadelphia Museum of Art's gift shops, and he got fired for bullying, and he really bullied us. You know, usually you try to get away from them. We're like, keep paying him because he's getting sales up, which was a mistake. Every group of staff that we've gone through, it's always family. It's always family. We just hire people and we just become family.
Yesterday, I actually heard Danny Meyer speak. And, you know, Danny, he said the big unlock for them as they were scaling was telling the team that they weren't family, because he said, you don't fire family. That was a big unlock for him. But for you, it was about family.
It was about family. And I had listened and was very influenced by Laura Albers, and she's the president of Williams-Sonoma. And she gave a speech at a business school for women. And she talked about how it's okay to be friends with your staff. It's okay to get close to them. And I remember that being a green light for me.
Do you think you can now, because, you know, you went through 3 CEOs, you grew, you didn't grow, you had to sell the warehouse. There's ups and downs in this journey.
Oh, yeah.
You
like
know,
severe ups and downs. Like someone going into cardiac arrest, if you looked at a chart.
Okay.
Not just a little.
Yeah. Like big up, big down.
Huge, epic, massive, seismic ups and downs.
Now looking back, do you think like I should have had a plan? I should have had a business plan?
No, and I actually wouldn't change anything. But because I got lucky. I got really lucky. I mean, we just always got lucky. There was always like, I hate to say it, but a manufacturer would be going out of business. And we went up to Buffalo, China and got all their stuff, or Shenango, China, or we had a big sale at the warehouse and they put it in the front page of the paper, or this so-and-so did a book signing and the line was around the corner. We're like, okay, we're in famine. We got to get out of it right now because, you know, we're in trouble and we can't pay the rent. And we just thought, let's do something. What should we do? And we did something and we got out of it. It is not a way to really run a business. It's not predictable and it causes a lot of, like, I'm actually fully gray.
But you didn't want to give it up. I mean, I read, like, as I was reading your story, you were like, Dave was like, maybe we should do something different. I mean, I think you sold the warehouse and you were like, wait, you can make more money in real estate than you can running a store.
Yeah, we decided we were really good at real estate.
Yeah.
But Dave did do something different and he left. That's why I should write another book.
Okay. Yes, you do need, I will say you need a part 2. Because I was like, wait, what happened? You and Dave had a long marriage, 25?
We almost made 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then what happens?
It's so cliche. My daughter came in.
Cliche.
No, my daughter came in and they shared a cloud and she showed me her phone and he had been texting someone else. He wanted to go to Florida. And it kept like saying, I don't like it here. I don't like New York. And like we had a store. We had to, you know,
also
we needed a
New York.
paycheck. Yes. And we needed like we can't just give everything up. With what money? So I said, fine, just go find a little apartment in Florida and we can go there. And in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not going there. So he started going to look. And, you know, of course, some woman at a bar, I'm sure she came on to him because he's actually really shy. It's like getting hit in the back of the head with a crowbar. I mean, we were together. We were a team. We were a family. I loved my family. I loved more than anything. I loved my family. I loved our family vacations. I loved the dynamics. We had so much fun. We were such a quirky family.
Okay. So your daughter sees on her phone through the cloud that he's talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Does she immediately come? Does she deliberate?
No, she came in the bedroom. I was just getting up or something. She goes, Mommy, I have to show you something. And she showed me. I was like, oh, no, this is a mistake. And then
then what happens?
I called Dave and he was in Florida and he said, I did something really bad.
So he immediately confessed.
He did. He confessed it. But after talking to him, I knew that was it. I knew, not because I wasn't going to take him back. I knew he didn't want to come back. He met a young girl there and he wanted that.
Okay. So what happened with your kids? Your son?
They were so upset and mad. And my son said one thing, and I'll never forget it. He was always jealous. Like I used to take classes all the time, writing classes and whatever. And he was jealous. And I remember him starting to say, you notice I'm not jealous anymore? I'm thinking,
This is Dave?
Yeah.
What was he jealous of?
He was just always jealous. Like if we had someone in the store that he thought I had a crush on,
He was jealous like that.
Anybody, anyone.
Mhm.
And I remember my son saying, Mom, he clipped your wings. I'll never forget he said that.
What does that mean, clipped your wings?
Because he like always gave me a hard time about everything. Staying at work late. I love to stay at work late because I love working. As to this day, I love working.
What do you love about it?
Merchandising.
I love it too. Have you seen Devil Wears Prada too? Where Miranda
not yet.
Oh, you should see it. Where she says she loves working.
Really?
My daughter was
do.
like, it's you.
I do. I love working.
Well, I mean, I love working on things I like working on, which is the same for you.
Well, now, skip even forward, we took investors in because of a real estate deal that I went along with, that my husband got us into, and it was really bad. And they came.
But he was always he was like the deal guy in between the two of you.
Yeah, but they weren't always good. He got greedy, and they came and they fixed it for us. But now they're investors in the store.
So now the store is not just yours.
No, it's not. But I got really lucky. I mean, didn't have to work out this way. I really like them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they like me. I think they appreciate me. It did not have to work out this way.
And so when in this period does this Florida thing happen?
The Florida thing happened like 8 years before they came.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he moved to Florida. That's where he lives now.
He just moved to Florida. No, now he's in Thailand.
What?
It's a long story.
So
This needs to be another podcast.
Okay, well, why is he in Thailand?
He's in Thailand. My daughter went to Thailand because he has no money and you could live in Thailand for 10 cents a day. She convinced him that it would be a good place for him and he's happy there. And I don't actually hate him and I would never, ever go back. My marriage was not a waste at all. We had so much fun. I think he kind of went off the deep end and I loved the store as much as I love to be with him. I love to be at the store and I didn't put him first.
Well, the store was your first baby between you.
I tell my children, it's my first and favorite child. I tell
Sure,
them,
they love that.
I tell them all the time. No, but I love the store. Now I love the history of the store. And I even really love, dare I say, I love these investors because they get the store.
Well, for the first time, you actually sound like you have partners who understand what makes Fishs Eddy's Fishs Eddy.
Yeah,
right?
they're very, very respectful of where we've come from. And any changes they make, they do it very carefully.
So were your kids mad at your husband?
They were mad. And now they're like, my daughter was like, oh, I get to go to Thailand. So
they eventually got over it.
Yeah. No. And they're not mad because I'm not mad. I forgive him.
How did
really
you?
do.
Sorry, we're going to have to talk about this. It's like a gut punch. You're trying to get him to come back. Now in retrospect, you're like, why did I do that? But it's a human reaction.
The first year I was hysterical. The first year I was crippled. I really couldn't.
How'd you get up and go to work?
I still went to work, but I was probably the worst person to be around. And don't forget, like, I tried to make things normal for my family. I'll never forget the first time we went out to dinner. And there was, we're sitting there at a 4-top, but we're 3. And I'm trying to be funny. And like, it's not just, I'll never forget that one dinner. I will never forget how painful that was. And there's so many painful moments. I remember my daughter was upstairs screaming at him, like, you left me. And I'm downstairs like, I think he left me. But that's okay.
He left both of you.
He left the family.
He left the family.
Like, how could he leave our family? I have a very good friend, Judy, who lost her husband. And she was like, I'll go online if you go online and just see like dating apps.
I'm sorry. How was that?
Well,
did that help?
I just dated a couple kind of, but then I found someone and I'm with him and we've been together for 6 years. He's pulmonologist, critical care doctor. We have absolutely nothing in common, but he's great and he's really nice. And, I guess in the back of my head, I'm always like, be careful, Julie.
Sorry, we have to also talk about the MS because where in this journey did you discover that?
I got MS 13 years ago, but
Before he left.
yeah, I had it before he left. My MS took a downward. The first 8 or 9 years, I was good. I was even still biking.
And that had to have been, sorry, a really difficult moment.
It was devastating, but I didn't even know what MS was.
Did they prepare you for what it could mean?
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, they said, go home and enjoy your family. And that didn't sound good either.
Yeah, that sounds
like go home and
a
enjoy
weird
your
thing to
family.
say.
Like what? While you can?
Yeah.
I mean, no, I didn't like that. I remember the doctor said that. And then, I had little issues and stuff like that. But I was like, I can totally do this. And then about 5 years ago, I really, I started using a cane and then a walker. And only recently am I using a wheelchair.
So I don't know a lot about MS. I'm
It
sure there's a
sucks.
lot of people.
I don't recommend it.
Well, okay, good. Okay, that's funny.
It sucks.
You do have a sense of humor.
It's the only thing that gets me through life.
Your book is definitely funny, I just want to say. The illustrated book, which you did with your son, is hysterical. So you should definitely do a part 2. But so what is that? Like when you have it, because talk about a messy part, right? That you have no control over.
I have no control over it. Like I stayed home yesterday because I had a bad day. Thank God these investors are also like, you were just talking to someone else and they were talking about own your schedule. I forgot who you're talking to.
Oh, it was Joanna Coles.
Yes. And that too.
Good memory.
I know all of your episodes now, like something resonates with me. I'm a diehard fan. So,
well, we can be diehard fans of each other because I love your story.
I really am. No, every episode. There's something like, that's me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I'm not allowed to walk through your store because every time I walk through, there's something I want to buy.
Even with these investors, they understand that I'm MS's bitch. So if it says, oh, you're going to have a bad day, I just have a bad day, but I still work from home. I don't stop doing stuff. But yeah, it really sucks. It's like very unpredictable and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's terrible. It's a really sucky disease.
What do you think it is about you that's willing to share so openly about all your messy parts? It's not that you haven't done it before you came on the couch because you've talked about your messy parts. Well, what do you think that is?
Well, one thing is I feel privileged because I meet so many women that have MS and they have to keep it from their boss.
What?
They do.
How do they do that?
They keep it from their boss so they don't get fired or they don't get like this person's limited, which I can't believe, which makes me so sad.
But you're working through MS.
I'm working through MS and I feel like a little brat though now for my wheelchair. I'm pointing, no, put that there. I really do. I feel like just a little to the right.
Well, I mean, I don't think you were good at asking for help. You were not a person who asked for help.
I used to do everything. And these investors didn't know me then. And a lot of people at the store today didn't know me. But I used to help unload the trucks. I used to go up and down the stairs.
What's your nickname?
Small time. Well, that's Dave gave me that. And my partner, Noah, his cousin Noah, who works with us, because they always said they were working on big deals and things like that,
I don't like that nickname for you.
It was a joke. And I would be like at the sink washing creamers. I was like, no, I have to get these out on the floor.
I know, because really what I think they were saying is that you treated every job like it was important enough for you to do it.
Yes.
Right? Although I don't like it because it makes you small. And I particularly don't like it given where Dave ended up going in this story.
No, but I always thought it was like, I am 4'11", so I'll take the name. I mean, what are they going to call me? Big time?
Yes. I think we should flip it for you and call you big time.
Big time.
Because maybe you grow into the word.
Well, we're really growing with these investors. I mean, we've opened 2 stores.
One in Chelsea Market.
Yes. And one in Brooklyn Heights. Yes. And
you're back to expanding.
We're back to expanding. But for me, I can have MS and a lot of the weight is off my shoulders too.
So in some ways, this actually has brought you to a place where you get to be creative and do things and live a life, really, working and also suffering through some of the difficulties, right? Because you talk about how MS, what did you say? Something about dignity?
It's a dignity thief.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even You don't even want to know. Like, sure, I can't walk, but if you knew half of the other symptoms, they're not pretty. They're terrible. I have a whole little group of MS, friends now, and we talk about it, and it's, everything.
That must actually be very helpful, having other people who understand what you're going through.
Yeah, but I'm sarcastic too. Like my sister was waiting for me in the bathroom. I was like, sorry, I was looking for my urethra
What is that?
with a catheter.
Oh, you definitely use humor.
Yes, yes.
So what's your hope now? When you look forward, right? You have 2 kids who are now adults. What excites you?
Well, taking little vacations with them because I still, we still have so much fun. And we have reinvented our family of 3. They're older though. My daughter's going to be 30. My son's 33, but I get to work with him all the time.
He still works with you. He illustrated the book with
and
you.
he paints cats and dogs, a pet portrait artist, our in-house pet portrait artist.
I've seen that.
Yes.
And what about your daughter? What did she end up doing?
She is trying to be a comedian.
Okay, wait. Okay.
No, but I'm her
stand-up-
source. I'm her source of comedy, though.
Okay, wait. The comedy thing has revealed itself because I forgot that there was a period where you started doing stand-up comedy.
Okay, that was a midlife crisis.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. I mean, I don't even understand what that means.
That was when we had the bully that we hired. I was really going crazy. I was pulling my hair out of my head. A friend of mine was like, why don't you just write a little and try this or something? I don't know how I ended up. I did
How did you end up at open mic night? Yes.
I don't know, but as I tell everyone, I quit at the audience request. I'm not a performer. I'm just good at writing material.
So do you now help your daughter write lines?
Yeah, I don't actually have to. I just have to spend time with her. And there it is. I know. She makes so much fun of me.
Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
God, I don't know. It's hard to put 40 years into... It's been 40 years. This year is 40 years.
We're not doing a memoir. We're 40 years of the store.
Yeah.
I know. It's incredible.
I know.
But it's not about 40 years. It's about all the crazy, messy moments that have taught us that we can pick ourselves back up.
Well, just to give you an idea, we're doing a mug now that says hot mess.
Maybe you need to do one that says messy parts.
I've been a mess. I have been a mess, but I own it. I would never be anything else. I'm just very chaotic.
But I think that authenticity is what's made you such an icon. The store, right? But in some ways you're synonymous with the store because you're one.
Dave and I were reckless. And that's why I don't regret anything too, because it was fun being reckless and it got us to where we are.
Is recklessness the willingness to take risk?
Yes, we're big risk takers. Big risk takers.
But maybe that's the lesson. If you were going to give a lesson, a tip, something to tell somebody in their 30s, not just starting out, but, sort of a moment where they're like, wait, is this it? What is the thing you would tell them?
Well, I would say take risks, but don't be a reckless risk taker like we were, because we got lucky. What were the odds? If it was today and the Bowery was filled with those dishes with eBay and pickers and everybody, we would never have had a chance. We were in the right place at the right time. The stars were aligned for us. They really were. So I would tell young people to definitely take risks, and definitely take risks when the least you have to lose is a rejection. Definitely do that. If you don't have anything to lose but your ego for a little bit, but not reckless risks.
Would you tell your children to be recklessly risky?
They are reckless.
In the best possible way.
Yeah, I don't know. They got that gene.
And one other thing before we end is you talk a lot about this idea of made in America, right? Because there was a moment where people stopped manufacturing these dishes here. And you had been now very tied to the history because you were going everywhere to see where these dishes were being made.
Well, that was another messy part. That happened, when I was with Dave way back, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago. We had a friend that worked in one of the manufacturers, the American manufacturers, and he said to us, get your heads out of the sand because this is not a forever thing.
We were finding things in basements?
No, getting things, because we also became the landing ground for all the American manufacturers' seconds. So there were stories to tell. We were getting surplus, we were getting vintage, and then we started making our own. So that's why the store's so interesting. It has so many layers. And he took us to Mexico and he was right. And we started because all the manufacturers were going out of business and we thought that was it. In fact, they were windfalls for us because we were getting all their surplus, everything they had in the factory when they closed. So we thought, wow, well, this is like amazing.
But it would end at some point if
But
there
we
was
didn't
nowhere.
think that far ahead. Yeah,
Restaurant ware is indestructible.
it is. It's a weapon.
It's a weapon. Why don't you tell the story about a gentleman painter who came and, I mean, you didn't know he was a painter. Somebody who came and bought a lot of dishes from you.
Oh, yeah. That was a long time ago. That was in the Hudson store. And Julian Schnabel came in. He was like
Now
early
a renowned painter.
Yeah, early days. And he came and bought bushels and bushels of dishes. And Dave went and delivered it to his house. And I wasn't there when he had the sale. And he came back and he's like, I just delivered to this guy. His name is Julian Schnabel in this big house. I was like, are you serious? Because like I went to art school. So I knew who he was. He's like, I don't know who the guy is. So,
And what was he going to do with the dishes? Have a big dinner party?
no, he made his art. My dishes are in major museums.
Because he was going to break
Those
the
are my
dishes.
dishes on his plates. Yes.
On his paintings.
On his paintings. Yes. On his paintings.
So he figured out how to break restaurant quality dishes.
Yes. Well, you have to use a hammer and put goggles on probably. Well, because stuff could still happen. Who knows? Yeah.
Because life is messy.
Life is messy. My life is really messy.
Thank you so much for coming.
No.
Julie, I could have you on the couch for way longer. I know you enjoyed this conversation with Julie Gaines. It was so fun to actually talk to her. Now, the way we get to tell more messy stories is by you telling 10 friends, by liking it and sharing it. So thank you for being on this journey with us, and here's to more messy stories.